All right, everybody, I have a brand new DC update. Every day I'm just getting a little bit better, so we should have a bunch of more videos coming shortly in the next week or so. I should be back to normal, basically, and pumping out more videos. But wow, do I have a doozy for you today? First of all, there is a civil war going on within Warner Brothers, and I'm going to talk about that last. But there are a couple of other things I want to talk about that are going to kind of tie in to that. First of all, let's talk about Aquaman. So there were some comments made by Jason Momoa that hit the rounds today, and we're going to take a look at this. So here is Jason Momoa talking about Aquaman in the upcoming DCU with James Gunn. He said, "I absolutely think Aquaman will be involved in the DCU. It's on, bro. There's no one bigger than Aquaman. But also, I hope people are excited to see the new one. It's fun. I really enjoy doing comedy." And he goes on, and I'm not going to show the rest, but he goes on to talk about how he had some funny scenes with him and I'm forgetting the guy's name who played his brother in the first one, that they have some very big comedic scenes in the new movie. Now, I don't know what he's trying to do with this comment, but nobody wants the comedy. Comedy in a superhero film needs to be used sparingly. This is why, if they would have stayed the course with the DC universe, I think they'd be top dog right now because people are looking for something more serious. There's a reason why people are getting bored with the Marvel stuff because the formula is kind of blah. It's getting stale. And Zack Snyder was offering up something entirely different. And so was David Ayer and even James Wan with the first Aquaman. So I don't know why they want to go more goofy with it. And I don't know if they're trying to make Aquaman 2 fail, but that's kind of a weird comment. Now, with him saying he's coming, that his character is going to be in the DCU, obviously he's a part of the Justice League. But does that mean it's going to be played by Jason Momoa? No. He didn't say his Aquaman was going to be in the DCU. He said just Aquaman would be a part of it. And you have to watch what actors say. And I've mentioned this many times before, which is going to lead into this next story, which is the doozy. This has to do with Ben Affleck. So Ben Affleck just had an interview, and this is what I was listening to. It was this podcast. You could see it was with Jason Bateman, Sean Hayes, Will Arnett, and Ben Affleck was the guest. And he talked about how awesome his scenes are in The Flash and how he really figured out how to play the character. And he was willing to come back for more. He even mentioned in the interview how he's like, I know I quit the job, but he was talking about how he wanted to come back as Batman. He was ready to come back, guys. There is no question about it. And that's exactly why he shot that new scene for Aquaman, which we know has now been cut. You guys have no idea how close we were to getting the Snyderverse back, what people call the Snyderverse. And this is what I'm going to talk about last, is this civil war that's happening within the DCU. So there is definitely something going on within the DC studios, because what we know now is that both Henry Cavill was back, we had Ben Affleck back, we were going to get Wonder Woman 3. All of these things were happening. Like, we were on the course of having that timeline, those group of people back full time. And that was because of Pam Abdy and Mike DeLuca. Zack Snyder came out. First of all, the Zack Snyder event sold out within 3 minutes. There is buzz around this. And if you guys haven't noticed, James Gunn has pretty much gone dark about DC on Twitter. It's a fact. He's gone dark. Ever since that interview with Ben Affleck last week or 2 weeks ago where he totally just distanced himself from what the DCU was doing, he doesn't want to be a part of that. Nobody does. And we find out more also about Henry Cavill leaving The Witcher. The show the heads of the show, the creators, wanted him gone after season 2 anyway because he was such a stickler for wanting to stick to the source material. Think about how asinine that sounds. You have a guy who wants to do right by the fans, not just with The Witcher, but also with Superman. He was so excited to be back. We had them back. This is what Pam Abdy and Mike DeLuca had planned. But then you had Zaslav have a completely different idea and brought James Gunn in to come and change everything. Now, it looks like they're going to be picking and choosing what they want to keep in the DCU, which is a huge mistake. You either reboot the whole thing or you go in a different direction. There's definitely a civil war going on because we find out now that the whole SnyderCon is being developed. It's being put on by Warner Brothers. You know, Jim Lee's involved, Pam Abdi, Mike DeLuca. They're the ones who are allowing this to happen. They're actually a part of it. And Zack Snyder even talked about how he was gracious for them coming back. And he specifically said this group of people is amazing to work with at Warner Brothers Discovery, and it's such a change. And he's very happy with what they're doing. So in that investor call that happened, weeks ago, well, probably about a month ago now, David Zaslav specifically said during that investor call that we're backing Gunn, we have a plan, but if that plan doesn't work, we have another plan. I guarantee you that other plan is Pam Abdi and Mike DeLuca taking over and allowing what was started to be finished. Most of these Snyder people, and I consider myself a Snyder fan, Snyderverse fan, Snyder and that whole universe. I loved everything up through Aquaman. Ever since Aquaman, everything's taken a dump. And I was happy with everything up until that point. And what's sad is we came that close to getting everything. We had Ben Affleck back. And people have been telling me it'll be a cold day in hell before he ever comes back and plays Batman again. That is not true. I guarantee you, I've been following this stuff for over a decade. I've been invested in the DCEU. I follow this stuff. I'm a movie person. I've been following it inside and out. I watch what these actors say. And I told everybody after his, when he was on Jimmy Kimmel, that he never said he was done with Batman. He was done with The Batman, the film that they were doing with Robert Pattinson. And so this was pretty crazy when he came back. And I told everybody he was leaving the door open to come back. And he did. And he was actually back even after The Flash. But, man, you had James come in and just freaking change everything. How disappointing is that as a fan? Like this, we need to definitely keep putting the pressure on the studio. If they don't listen to the people that are paying for the tickets, they're going to have problems. And the only way this is going to be fixed is to allow this to, I'm definitely going to go see The Flash, and I'm actually excited to see it. That one I might see more than once. It depends on how good it is. But I will be reviewing that as soon as it gets released. But yeah, man, this is some crazy stuff going on. All right, so what do you guys think about this recent, revelation and all this stuff that's coming out? I mean, every week we're finding out something different, just how close we were to getting everything we wanted. And then, man, it's just so freaking disappointing. I do not understand how Zaslav could have made this decision to bring Gunn in and go in a completely different direction. And, 80% of what's coming out, nobody really has any interest in. And with them starting with Creature Commandos and Waller, what the heck? People want the goods. We want the goods. And to have to wait, 2.5 years for Superman Legacy, while we have all these actors who were willing and ready to go now, they could have been in production on Man of Steel 2 by now. But no. Nope, the studio just continues to make these stupid decisions that they've made for decades. It's sad. It's really gut-wrenching to watch as a DC fan. I just want them to finish out the story, then do whatever the heck you want. You'll win over a lot more people that way. Regardless, I'm hoping that at the SnyderCon that we do get an announcement that they are going to let him license out that storyline over to Netflix. I hope that's what happens. I guarantee you these people would come back for Zack Snyder. They understand what the fans want. And my gosh, to hear this news today about Ben Affleck and everything else, it is just so disappointing to know what we had in our hands, and it just slipped away because of David Zaslav. All right, we will see you on the next video.